I'm trying another mode of transport this time round, a KTM train. My last KTM train was a decade ago. That was when I still a toddler. My dad hand carried me all the way from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur, standing throughout the journey.
15B.
Whereas now I'm in the comfort of a spacious air-conditioned train carriage.
KL Central. So this is my train. Yep. I'm going to start this leg of the tour from the southern city of Thailand, Hat Yai. This travel will be a land-based journey. I will cross the land border of Thailand into Malaysia and then travel the entire peninsular Malaysia from north all the way to the south before coming back to Singapore. The theme of this trip, one city, one night. Join me in this unique journey with me.
This is a 220-kilometer journey from Ipoh to down south Kuala Lumpur. It is 2.5-hour train journey. I highly recommend train journey between Ipoh and Kuala Lumpur instead of taking a bus. That is because one is able to avoid the very heavy traffic around Kuala Lumpur.
That's my compartment.
Additionally, both the originating train station and destinating train station in Ipoh and Kuala Lumpur is located right smack in the city center. Thus, the tourist is spared of spending time commuting to the bus terminal in the respective city center, which is situated tens of kilometers from the city center potentially.
The time now is 6 p.m. So the journey takes about, let me see, 2.5 hours from Ipoh to KL.
There are two major train stations in the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur, the KL Central and the Kuala Lumpur Railway Station. These are two different train stations situated less than 3 kilometers from one another. KL Central is the much newer station between the two and now serving as a hub to the Kuala Lumpur Railway needs. The much older Kuala Lumpur Railway Station, which I am alighting, operates since 1910. A beautiful blend of classical Western architecture with Mongol architecture and the architecture of the Moorish Empire.
This is indeed the most beautiful train station in Malaysia.
Here, you can see shadows of Taj Mahal, Muslim and Western architecture all roll into one building. I walked through almost 2 kilometers plus, skirting round the Kuala Lumpur Chinatown and Little India to reach my hotel, where I'm staying for the night. Hotel Masjid India is situated at the fringe of Little India.
Hello. I've got a reservation.
Now, I waste no time to hit the streets again. After a quick shower, of course.
Now I'm walking towards TRX, the newest shopping mall in KL.
I foresee my main meat of my KL sightseeing will be tonight. Tomorrow will just be a leisure day for me and will be a traveling day down south towards Singapore. My last visit to KL was last year and also for just one night. During that last day in Kuala Lumpur, I concentrated around the Chinatown area. Now, in this visit, my focus is on Kuala Lumpur main district for shopping, Bukit Bintang. While walking along Bukit Bintang, a surprise came to me in the form of someone calling me out of nowhere.
Okay, yeah.
Yo! What's up, guys?
I've met fellow friends of mine.
Absolutely.
Fellow YouTuber.
Hello, YouTubers.
How many subscribers you have?
My name is Claude Joseph. I am having almost 20,000 subscribers, and I'm happy to meet Uncle Gold Traveling.
Oh, yeah, you're happy. This is Uzaid, and you have got roughly 1,000 subscribers, and we're so happy that we have got to
brother,
meet.
yes.
There's one group of vloggers spotting me from afar doing vlogging as well along the same road.
Please subscribe to Uncle Gold Traveling. Let's take him to 1,000 subscribers, and we celebrate.
And Uzair,
And also Uzair, he is also to the road.
We exchange greetings and well wishes with one another.
1,000 subscribers. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a picture together.
Yeah.
Come
Okay.
here.
Bintang crossing. For those people who has been to Japan, Tokyo, must not have missed on the famous Shibuya Scramble walking. Basically, this crossing has all vehicles stopping from all directions to allow pedestrians to flood the entire intersection. Now, even without buying an air ticket, you can try out the Shibuya style crossing in Kuala Lumpur itself at Bukit Bintang. I covered Chinatown on my last half-day, one-night visit in August last year. This time round, with another half-day, one-night, I covered another part I has not stepped in for the past more than 10 years, Bukit Bintang, that is. In the last over 10 years since I last visited, Bukit Bintang has progressed so much so beyond what I can imagine. Pavilion Kuala Lumpur along Bukit Bintang has opened since 2007. I've seen it from the day it opened, and more than 15 years since I last stepped in here, Pavilion has not lost its relevance. In fact, given its super strategic location along Bukit Bintang, I thought this could well be the most popular shopping mall among tourists and locals with 700 shops and 8 theme precincts. I'm here in Pavilion during the Chinese New Year season. The Chinese New Year decoration is still around for quite some time, and I must say, the decoration is simply awesome. The dragon lantern at the foyer is probably one of the best dragon decorations I have seen this year. Animation along Bukit Bintang. Is that in KL? I've read about that existing in the very cosmopolitan city like Tokyo, Seoul, Hong Kong, and cities in China. All these major cities in the world all caught into the 3D digital billboard craze. I watch it on TV, IG, TikTok, YouTube, and dazzled by such beautiful lighting. However, my home country Singapore does not have this LED panel. Seeing is believing. I'm really starting to believe I'm a frog in a well when I see the 3D LED screen right in front of my eyes in Kuala Lumpur, Bukit Bintang, and it is already there since February 2021. Incidentally, this 3D LED panel located outside of the pavilion is Malaysia's first 3D panel. Now being the Chinese New Year season, the LED panel showcased the cute dragon animation. What is so endearing and caught me off surprise is the fact that the LED panel at Pavilion KL combined with the neighboring shopping mall Fahrenheit 88 LED to have this dragon chasing after the rabbit. Such combination is a wonderful animation with nice background music. Much as I wanted to stay on for a little longer, I have this dying urge to go to TRX. That is, after seeing so many YouTubers showcasing TRX few months back at November 2023, blasting all over my YouTube channel suggested pages back then during TRX grand opening. So now that I am in KL, how can I give TRX a miss? How does one reach TRX? Other than a subway line down underneath the building, for me, I stroll to TRX from an obscure side road along Bukit Bintang. Coming close to TRX gives me this overwhelmed feeling of big brand names surrounding me. If I'm much younger, I would very impressed by all these international fashion brands. Too bad I've passed that age already. I'm more to see how geometry and spacious play out for me in this building. We all know TRX building, but do you know that TRX stands for Tun Razak Exchange? TRX is a 70-acre development by Ministry of Finance Malaysia (MOF) in the heart of Kuala Lumpur for international finance and business. The development was named after the second Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tun Abdul Razak Hussein, due to its location along Jalan Tun Razak. The Exchange 106 within this development, in Malay called Menara Exchange 106, is a 453.6 meter tall, super tall skyscraper in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is the second tallest building in Malaysia and third tallest building in Southeast Asia. Compared to the other malls located along Bukit Bintang, TRX atmosphere, to be frank to me, is still a few notches down. Maybe it is due to the fact that it is situated some distance from the major human traffic along Bukit Bintang. Nevertheless, I love going to TRX on a weekday night where there are not much people. Strange as it may seem, the flooring design of TRX gives me the feeling of traveling through space intergalactic galaxy with those lines and floor tiles. Needless to say, I can only be able to feel this only during weekday nights when there are not too many shoppers. I left TRX. I still like what I saw and experienced in there. I'm so glad that I've ticked the checkbox of being in TRX when I'm in KL here. I'm back along Bukit Bintang again. I popped by KL Star Hill. I used to stay in JW Marriott Kuala Lumpur during my work trips in KL decades back. However, now with the complete overhaul of the shop mix, other than certain corners of Star Hill, the nostalgic feeling is no longer there for me. There is something new in Star Hill, which is the coveted eslite moving into this shopping mall. These days, a successful bookstore does not just only sell books. Along this line, eslite is more selling a lifestyle. Probably this is how physical stores have to deal with the online stores right now. Eslite Spectrum in Star Hill, KL, try doing that, I'm sure. Eslite Spectrum is a sub-brand of the Eslite bookstore, which is one of the most chill bookstores originating in Taiwan. Underneath Eslite's bookstore, Eslite Spectrum is a brand founded in 2010 and described as a platform for creative commerce. This means it's home to various lifestyle brands, especially those of creative nature. Think of it as a departmental store, but more artsy. Sporting a maze-like layout, Eslite Spectrum is separated into few zones. Unfortunately, in my case, I'm trying to skim through this place without giving this place the attention it ought to get. Despite Eslite being a Taiwanese company, a lot of the featured businesses in its Star Hill, KL location are proudly Malaysian. I left Star Hill, trying to trace back the path I took many years back and walked into a mall next to it, Fahrenheit 88. Back in those days, it was called by another name. I forgot what name the name is. What I'm seeing now is that this place is so much brightly lit with so many colors and more spacious. I merely swing past this place and take a peek at the Chinese New Year decorations. There are also some in-season exhibition. Jalan Alor Food Street. Jalan Alor Food Street is possibly one of Kuala Lumpur's most famous night food streets. There is no shortage of good food in Kuala Lumpur, a melting pot of mouth-watering dishes from all over the world. If you fancy a respite from all the shopping mall restaurants and basement food court, take a night time out to Jalan Alor, Kuala Lumpur's most famous night market. Jalan Alor has existed for many years, and before entering this side lane leading into it, I have this preconceived expectation of this place. After all, this place used to be my canteen when I hang around Bukit Bintang a lot when I'm young. It is exactly this wrong mental fixation of mine of this place that gives me the biggest surprise in my entire Kuala Lumpur trip. At most, these smaller stores will gang up together into clusters scattered along the length of Jalan Alor. And sanitary-wise, back in those days, things here are a little bit dirty. But that adds to the fun of having my food here. Now, Jalan Alor is totally transformed. I'm first overwhelmed by the huge signboards here. The signboards here are more cohesive and systematic and colorful in design. Overall, the sanitation here is so much better than last time. In the good old days, I can still see people washing the cutlery along the streets. No more now. Also gone are the unsightly trash bins and the piling up of the paper plates and food all over the road. The crowd on a Wednesday night is a sight to behold. It was crowded previously, but I do not recall at this kind of scale. People here somehow give me this feeling that they are doing sightseeing here as well. That's my subtle feel to it. Back in those days, people here are just going for the food only. And after those food quickly got out of this place. It's those things that somehow we know what we want and we go straight to the store without much thoughts. But right now, I'm really hit by the option crisis. There are so many choices for me to choose from. I really do not know what to choose now. I'm searching high and low for my favorite KL Hokkien noodle that I crave for. With the entire revamp of this place, I do not know now where my favorite Hokkien mee is located. I felt a little bit emo. It almost felt like Jalan Alor was an old friend of mine, but now transformed into someone that I do not know at all. Initially, I really look forward to having my dinner here. But right now, at this instant, I do not feel like having my dinner here anymore. There are just too many people walking up and down the streets, and personally, I do not like too many people moving around me when I'm having my food. Other than food, Jalan Alor is also famous for its dodgy side. That was last time. These days, the people on the streets are pretty much blend into the party-going crowd. You actually have to pay a little bit more attention to really spot their existence. Now, Jalan Alor is better known as a waterhole. Pubs and clubbers spill into the side pavement. I like such vibe, by the way. I stroll back to KL Chinatown. I am still determined to eat a plate of KL Hokkien noodle in this trip that I will not give up until I eat it. Not able to eat my Hokkien noodle at Jalan Alor, I retreat back to Chinatown eventually. My wish is simple. I just need to have a plate of Hokkien noodle. I ended up going into a street side store and order that. Jeez, that must be the most horrible Hokkien noodle in KL. It's way too soggy, tasteless, no lattes, no wok hei, and aesthetically challenged. Kuala Lumpur has always have a special place in my heart. I remember in my younger days that I would catch a Friday night bus from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur just for the weekend. I possibly know every nook and corner back then in central KL. That was what I thought before tonight. No, Kuala Lumpur and I have already gone on our separate ways many moons ago. I failed to acknowledge it until today.
The next day.
I've just done my checkout and now heading to Chinatown to get my breakfast before leaving this place. So my next destination, I still don't know until I go to the bus stop.
Time for me to leave Kuala Lumpur to my next destination. I'm now on my way to Kuala Lumpur Central to get inspiration on where I should go next. On my way to Chinatown, I got myself a backpack. This is something I buy for myself during this entire trip.
Okay, 谢谢你啊。
谢谢你，谢谢你，
哎拜拜
新年快乐，新年快乐。
新年快乐，新年快乐。Yeah, I just got a backpack from her store. Not too bad, pretty cheap at 50 ringgit. Her humble store is just situated by the side of the Chinatown. I'm back at Chinatown again, so I would like to get some breakfast before leaving this place. I was here last night as well.
In my last visit last year, I have wanted to have a meal at Foo Hwa Kopitiam. But I missed out on that because this kopitiam only operates till early afternoon. Locating Foo Hwa Kopitiam can be a challenge. It is hidden right behind the shophouses, only reached via the side alley. I've read about this place serving good traditional coffee. Unfortunately, I missed this place on my last visit because it closed in the late afternoon.
There are main stores along the main road. Okay, but what I'm looking for is one of the very old stores. Okay, has been around for quite some time. It seems to me that it is along within the alley itself. Okay, let me make a search first.
So I'm back again in this trip. It turns out that Foo Hwa Kopitiam is just a small coffee stand serving just very basic coffee and breakfast as well. So basic that I can't really believe it. I have bread and of course coffee. I also ordered a wonton noodle, just a few stores next to it.
So she meant two stores. This wonton mee store and this banh mi store. Okay. 炒豆腐。好的。So my complete set of breakfast has arrived. So this is wonton mee, costs $9, 9 ringgit. And this breakfast set, which consists of coffee and a bread, costs me 420 ringgit. So I got it from this coffee store and the store over there. Okay, it's food time. Let me try the coffee. Apparently, it claims that it has got the best coffee.
While the food is nothing to scream about, I find that this is a very hearty breakfast. This is a very traditional local KL style breakfast. Old school KL noodles and the traditional Southeast Asia coffee.
When you are in KL, don't miss out an opportunity to have a meal at the back alley.
After breakfast, I continue cruising the back alley. After all, under normal circumstances, I do not normally walk behind the shop houses. Comparatively, I am spared with interacting with other tourists and crowd that I would have otherwise come across if I were to take the main streets. The back streets is pretty quiet, very raw, and very unpretentious. There's very little much I can see here, but I enjoy the tranquility more. Having said, there are still small little surprises to thrill one visually if you take the less trodden path.
This is the Brickfield neighborhood, which is just next to KL Central Transport Hub. So far, I've been walking around Central KL on foot without taking any public transport. Brickfield is a neighborhood district within Kuala Lumpur that is known for the congregation of blind people. Given that I have a little bit of time, I decided to get myself a massage by a blind man. And I enjoy doing that. Wow, I feel energized after the massage. Alright, time for me to go to Central. Try to see whether if there's any train